Well, I'm sure the comments on this one will be nice and civil. So in case you haven't seen it, not too long ago, I completed the first playthrough of Bloodborne and its DLC that I've done in a long time. In fact, it was the first time I'd even played the DLC since around the time it came out. Check out the playlist in the description if you haven't seen it yet. But since the game and all its bosses are fresh in my mind, I thought it'd be fun to rank them based on how much I enjoyed fighting them. Couple quick disclaimers here. First off, this list is entirely subjective based on my experience and boss taste, so if I rank your favorite boss a little too low, it's not personal, I promise. And secondly, this list will not include Chalice Dungeon specific bosses because I haven't fought those yet. I'll be running the Chalice Dungeons in a future video for anyone who wants to see that. And yeah, I think that about covers everything. Before we get into it here, as always, if you are enjoying the video, definitely make sure you leave a like, and let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with these rankings. Also, if you're new or you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you go follow me on Twitter. This video is actually streamed live right here on my YouTube channel, so if you want to be a part of content like this in the future, or you just want to hang around for the vibes, make sure you check out the live tab for upcoming streams. That's about enough yapping, let's get into it. Alright, so today we are going to be ranking all of the main game Bloodborne bosses. This does not include Chalice bosses, obviously, because I have not fought those. So this is every boss, I think. I believe I did them all. I don't think I missed anything. And we're gonna rank them. As per usual, we have S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and then of course we have Moog tier. Are we prepared? I think we're prepared. Let's do this. Kicking things off, we have Cleric Beast. First boss in the game. I give it like a solid B tier, I think. Cleric Beast is, how do I put this? I think it's a good introductory boss. It teaches you the game well. It kind of gives you an idea of what sort of enemies you're going to be fighting. I also think it helps encourage you to use the rally mechanic, which is good. Because like if it hits you, there's a lot of opportunities to kind of jump in and get your health back. It also teaches you about elemental affinities, because right before the boss, you're going to get some Molotovs. So yeah, I'd give Cleric Beast a solid B. Next up, we have Grandpa. Papa Gascoigne. I like Father Gascoigne. I'm gonna give him an A. I think a lot of the hunter fights in Bloodborne are a little bit annoying because they just kind of run around and spam at you and stuff, but Gascoigne is sort of on another level. I like the lore. I like the voice lines throughout. He like talks you through him sort of losing his mind, you know? This boss also teaches you how to parry if you haven't figured it out yet. This boss is very weak to parries. And the transformation at the end is super cool. I really enjoy that you fight him normally for 2/3 of it, and then once his health gets low, he goes full beast and then comes at you like as a beast. You know what I mean? His OST slaps. His OST does slap. That too. Solid OST on this boss as well. My only thing that I dock points from Father Gascoigne, I think he'd be S tier otherwise, is his arena kind of sucks. Like all the tombstones being around, it makes it hard to kind of dodge. Some of the trees are like shaped weird. They have like roots sticking out. It's really easy to get stuck in a corner, especially after he turns into the giant beast. But other than that, I think this is a great boss. Fun fact, if you use the box enough, he enters phase 2 early. Really? I didn't know that. Anyway, moving on. The third boss we fought in the playthrough was Bloodstarved Beast. I will give Bloodstarved Beast a B, but lower than Cleric Beast. I know a lot of people don't like Bloodstarved Beast because of the poison. I like it. I like that it's fast. I think it's kind of cool looking too. Visually, it's a nice boss. I also think that the moveset's not too obnoxious. You know, the poison is a pain, and I mean, he does kind of jump around the arena a lot. It doesn't feel as obnoxious as some other bosses FromSoft have made that jump around the arena, but you know, I think it's fine. B minus. Yeah, I agree. B minus. All right, boss number 4, Vicar Amelia. I don't know how other people feel about this boss, chat, but I actually kind of like it. I'm gonna put it below Grandpa because I think it looks cool. Like, her moveset's nothing really to write home about. It's not bad, but it's not particularly like interesting either. She's just a big beast, right? But visually, I think she looks cool. I like the lore implications of her, like, you know, when you start the fight with her like in the chapel and she's like turning into the beast. I like the idea of her being able to heal herself. I don't know about the execution of that because it doesn't feel like she heals very much most of the time. Her hair can be annoying. Her hair lags my PlayStation. I don't know if that's normal. That is a little bit annoying. And she screams every single second, blessing to my ears. I mean, hey man, it's a beast fight. I don't know. I like Vicar Amelia. I think she's interesting. There's numbing mist in the area that prevents her healing. Hey, there you go. There's a use for numbing mist in PvE. So yeah, Vicar Amelia, I would say like lower end of A tier. Next up, Shadow of Yharnam. This boss sucks, dude. This is the first Moog tier boss. Shadow of Yharnam is terrible. I mean, gang fights in general are kind of just meh, but this one's super annoying because, so not only do all 3 of them have a phase transition, but after you kill 2 of them, then the 3rd one starts summoning mesmer snakes after you, and I still don't really know what you're supposed to do about that. I read somewhere that apparently what you're meant to do is keep them all at relatively low HP and then you can just kill them all at once, but like, why? You know what I mean? They're like the Black Rabbit Brotherhood and Liza P. You know what? That's an excellent comparison because that boss sucks too. There's a glitch where if you enter the boss fog at a certain angle, their AI doesn't activate them and you can kill them for free. So is it like the Dancer Cheese in Dark Souls 3? That's interesting. So yeah, I mean, Shadow Yarnum, Moog tier boss, don't really know what else to say about that. Also, there's a pot shotter in it. Like, that's automatically gonna lose points for me any day of the week. Next up, Witch of Hemwick. I don't really know what to do with this one. Like, it's not Moog tier because it's not annoying. It's just kind of a waste of time. You know what I mean? Like, I think Witch of Hemwick is like bottom of C tier. There's nothing it can really do to kill you, right? Like, unless you let all the shadows build up, I guess. To be clear, by the way, Moog tier is reserved for bosses that are actually frustrating. Like, they're bad and they're frustrating. But Witch of Hemwick isn't frustrating, it's just kind of dumb. You know what I mean? Witch of Hemwick is kind of like Deacons in Dark Souls 3. Yeah, exactly, I agree. If D existed, it'd be D tier. Yeah, it's like the bottom of tiers of bosses that I don't hate fighting. We'll just say Witch of Hemwick is all the way at the bottom of C tier as we add bosses to it. How about that? It feels like padding for time, I agree. All right, next up. Rom the Vacuous Spider. Rom's going in C tier as well, above Witch of Hemwick, if it'll let me. There we go. Rom is kind of just It's just a spider that casts spells at you and has a bunch of ads. You know what Rom kind of makes me think of? It makes me feel almost like it's a prototype of the Renala fight. Does that make sense? Like, you're in this big open space, it's casting projectiles at you, and there's ads all over the arena. Rom is just a boss for the sake of having a boss. I mean, there's lore implications, right? There's a lot of lore implications. I think Rom is one of the more important characters in the game, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, it's just kind of not good. Funny how vacuous is another way of saying stupid, so imagine having your boss title be an insult. Rom the Stupid Spider. Is that true? Is that what that actually means? I've never looked it up. Is this boss's name actually Rom the Stupid Spider? That's crazy, chat. Super lore important boss with projectile spam, lots of limbs, and ads. Super Meteor coded. Yeah, pretty much. Next up on the to-do list, or next up on the boss roster, I guess, is Dark Beast Parl. I don't really know where to put this one, to be honest. The thing with Dark Beast Parl is if you fight him the first time you go to Yahar Ghul, he's really hard. Like, he's really hard. But if you fight him when you go to Yahar Ghul, like, normally, he's really easy because you're over level. So I don't really know where to put this guy. Parl is cool, low B. Yeah, I'd say low B. I ended up fighting him late, so he felt really easy. He looks cool. The one thing I will hold against this boss, though, is the camera does not work. To be honest with you, this is a problem with, like, half the bosses in this game. But the camera does not work for Dark Beast Parl. It's just completely busted. You basically have to free cam it. Hitboxes are annoying, too. Yeah, that's true, because you have to hit his legs, right? Because if you hit the legs and you break him, he falls down and loses the lightning buff or whatever. The camera doesn't work half the time in literally every Souls game. No, it's egregious in this game, dude. Like, literally half the bosses in this game, the camera is just non-functional. Next up, we have the One Reborn. I think the One Reborn is going in C. I'll put it above Rom, though. So the thing with the One Reborn, I don't like that it's a pseudo Tower Knight fight, where the point is you have to run up the stairs and kill the ads. I didn't like doing that with Tower Knight. I don't like doing it with the One Reborn. I would prefer walking into the boss arena and actually, you know, fight it, you know, rather than have to, like, essentially do chores before being allowed to engage with the fight. And even then, once you do it and you actually get to fight the One Reborn, it's kind of just, like, meh, you know? One Reborn is also just a walking hitbox, that too. So yeah, One Reborn, we'll give it a C tier. I'm not a huge fan, but it's not like horrendous, it's just kind of annoying. It's also the grossest. It is also the grossest. Well, I don't know. I mean, the Orphan of Kos cutscene is pretty gross. Next up, we have Amygdala. I think Amygdala is like bottom of B tier. Amygdala is such a just okay boss. I honestly don't even know what else to say about it. Like, it's fine, you know? It's got some interesting things going for it. It looks cool. I think the mechanic of having to hit its arms upon having fought it a second time, I think that's more interesting than I originally thought. In the fight that you saw during my Let's Play, I did find it really annoying that you're not allowed to hit the legs, but I think I've kind of changed my tune on it, I guess. I don't know. The other thing I do like about Amygdala, I like that it rips its arms off. I think that's really cool. It's like metal as fuck, you know? So yeah, I don't know. Amygdala's fine. I don't think it's particularly bad. I just don't think it's, like, special. Next up, I think, chat, and I might be alone in this, I think we have our first S-tier boss of the game. Martyr Ligarius, you're going in S-tier. I like this boss. I think he's super cool. I like the look of his spells, that he's, like, shooting skulls and shit at you. Once I found out that you can break the dagger attack, and actually, apparently you can break it with your gun. I haven't tried doing that yet, but it seems really cool. Like, this boss just shot up in quality for me, because he is awesome. I really like the look. I I like his moveset. I think he's very satisfying to dodge. I think there's a cool sort of back and forth that starts happening once you figure out like what you're supposed to do about his spells. I like this boss. I think he is one of the better bosses in the game. Next up, we have Celestial Emissary. This boss, I think, is slightly above Witch of Hemwick, but it's still pretty shit. There's just no point to it, you know? It's just a bunch of ads running around at you, and you have to hit the real one. Like, I think, who was it before that mentioned some boss being like Deacons of the Deep? I think Celestial Emissary is Deacons of the Deep. It's the exact same concept. Well, anyway. Next up, we have Eberitis, Daughter of the Cosmos. I don't know about this one, chat. I really don't know how I feel about this one. I think my gut says it's B tier, but I don't know if people actually, like, secretly like this boss, you know? Yeah, I'm thinking it's somewhere. It's like above Amygdala, I think, but it's still pretty not great. C tier for you, you hate her hitboxes. That's honestly fair. I think I can remember a couple of questionable hitboxes. I only fought her the one time that you guys have seen. I didn't end up fighting her in the second playthrough that we did for the DLC, but I don't know. I thought this boss was okay. It looks cool. Like, I think the lore implications are really interesting, but again, as a boss, it's just kind of like meh, which I feel like is the case for a lot more of these than I really thought it would be. Eberitis is more interactive than Amygdala, at least. She has a little bit more complexity to her moveset. I do think there's a bit more to engage with there for sure. So yeah, I don't know. Boss is fine, I guess. But now we have a boss that's not fine, chat. Mikolash is going straight to the bottom of Moog tier. Fuck this guy. I hate this boss so much, dude. Mikolash is absolute garbage. He's got a one-shot attack and a call beyond to go through his tag simulator of a fight. The funny thing is, it's not even hard to dodge. You can just strafe it. Like, you just walk back and forth and hit him, and it's like, there's nothing at all interesting about this fight, except for him, like, creaming his pants in the background and then running around his level like a psychopath. Ooh, majestic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this boss is awful. I have literally nothing good to say about it. So yeah, Mikolash, bottom of Moog tier. Fuck this guy. Next up, we have Murgo's Wet Nurse. Now, this may be an unpopular opinion, chat, or it may be a popular opinion. I don't know what the Bloodborne community consensus is, but I am gonna put Murgo's Wet Nurse at the bottom of A tier because I actually really liked it. I know some people do not like this boss, and I can understand why. I think for one thing, it looks really cool. I think a lot of its attacks are very interesting. Once I figured out what it is that you're supposed to do during the sort of like blackout in phase 2, I think the boss became a lot more fun. I do like the idea of the clone. I'll say another thing that's a bit maybe blasphemous. I think that this is a better way to do a clone fight in a boss than Pontiff Sullivan. Rather than having it around all the time, it just kind of pops out every now and again. I think that's way better. So yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Murgo's Wet Nurse. I have seen some posts from people saying that they don't enjoy this boss, but I think it ultimately comes down to personal preference and play styles. So for me, this is a low A tier boss. I think this is definitely one of the better ones in Bloodborne. Alrighty, now we are in the end game. The next boss that I fought in my playthrough was Gehrman the First Hunter, Grandpa number 2. He is going up there in S tier, although slightly below Martyr Ligarius. So he gets S tier because obviously he looks really cool. He's got the most badass weapon in the game, in my opinion, and his moveset is a lot of fun. He does all of the things that Gascoigne does right as far as a hunter fight go. The only things that I don't like about Gehrman are, one, that he can parry you without actually parrying you. Like, he can just shoot you and you're immediately staggered. Very frustrating, in my opinion. And also, I feel like his moveset is not as complex as a final boss's should be. And granted, I know part of the reason for that is because there is a second boss after him. So, like, technically he's only the first half of the final boss, but still, I wish he had a little bit more move variety, especially after he does the whole phase transition thing. Like, when he summons the power of the dream or whatever, I think it would have been cool to give him a little bit more than just the same moveset with, like, 2 extra things. You wish he had more moves and a bit more HP? Yeah, that's basically it. Like, again, I understand the reason is because he's technically only the first half of the fight. He is essentially phase 1 if you think about it. But given the fact that there is a route, and a very easy to do route, that leads to him being the only final boss, I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense, you know? Reminds me of Radabeast, but less thought out, and Radagon is a better fight than Elden Beast. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Gehrman's S tier. It's just, you know, there's a couple things I think that do hold him back, so he's not going above Ligarius. All right, final boss of the base game, chat. We have Moon Presence. I'm gonna give Moon Presence C tier. I'm gonna put it above Abritus. I think it's cool. I think it looks cool. I love the lore implications. I like some of its moves. I think the fact that it charges around the arena like a drunk dragon or something like that is kind of ridiculous. Once I figured out that the 1 HP move, like the move that it does where it deletes your whole HP bar, once I figured out that the point of that was to make you rally the health back, that actually seemed a lot cooler to me. I think that's a really cool way to kind of make the player use a mechanic that, you know, the game is sort of built around, right? Because once it does that, it does sit there for like 6 seconds. You can rally your whole health bar back off of that. The one annoying thing about Moon Presence is I do not like that it can remove your healing. That's kind of stupid. But other than that, I think it's probably fine, you know? It's cool, but it could have been way better for a final boss. Yeah, I agree. Again, it's in this sort of roster of bosses here where they're kind of just meh, you know? Like, it's not bad. I don't think Moon Presence is a bad boss at all. It's just part of why it's disappointing is it's not exactly what you'd expect from a final boss, right? Ironically enough, it's sort of how I feel about Elden Beast, too. It's supposed to be this being beyond comprehension, and it's just squidge. I mean, that's kind of the great ones, though, right? They're all just sort of bleh, you know? All right, this wraps up the base game, chat. This is the base game of Bloodborne, which, you know, if you look at this, the curve is kind of there. Like, this is like the bell curve, right? You got a couple really shit bosses, a couple kind of like bosses, a bunch of bosses that are fine, a few bosses that are good, and a couple bosses that are really good. I think this is cool. Anyway, moving on to the DLC, Ludwig the Holy Blade. I am about to say something blasphemous, chat. I'm about to say something I think a lot of people aren't going to like. I think Ludwig goes here, bottom of B tier. People give the soundtrack way too much credit for this boss, man. The first phase of this fight is atrocious. I know phase 2 is good. If it were just phase 2, he'd be A tier, maybe S tier. However, if phase 1 were its own boss on this list, that would be in Moog tier. So I think this balances it out, right? You have a good phase 2, a shit phase 1, which makes for an average boss. Phase 1, New Game Plus, he can eviscerate your HP bar. I have heard that this boss is miserable in New Game Plus. I don't really think I ever want to experience that, I gotta be honest. So yeah, Ludwig is B tier. Sorry to the Ludwig enjoyers, it is what it is. Next up, we have Living Failures. I think Living Failures is like right here. It's essentially just Celestial Emissary, but with more moves. I did die to this boss once, admittedly, in my DLC playthrough. However, I feel the same way about them that I did about Celestial Emissary. They kind of just don't do anything. You just sit, you parry them, they go to cast the Estelle Meteor spell, you backstab them. Like, what else is there to say about it, really, you know? They're living failures, they don't deserve respect. I mean, that's what they are, yeah. Anyway, next up, we have the best boss in the DLC, and in the entire game, really, in my opinion. Lady Maria is top of S tier. If there were a tier above this, Lady Maria would be in it. Lady Maria is the best boss in Bloodborne. I don't think there's any debate about that. The Melania of Bloodborne, she really is, although she's not nearly as difficult. She is by far, I think, the most fun boss in this game. She does all the things right about hunter bosses that I said about Gehrman, but she has that moveset that he was kind of lacking, right? Because she's got the phase transition where she gets the blood on her attacks, and then later in phase 2, she gets blood flame on her attacks. Like, another nice thing is she is fast and aggressive, but it doesn't feel overwhelming, you know what I mean? Like, if you fuck up and she hits you a couple times, you can recover. She's not just gonna stay in your face until you literally can't do anything else, right? I would say Lady Maria, fairly comfortably the best boss in Bloodborne. No question. Somebody predicted the next one. Yeah. Next up, we have Lawrence the First Vicar. This bastard's going straight into Moog tier 2. I'll put him ahead of Shadows of Yharnam because he's at least a real boss. Fuck this thing. You know what the problem with Lawrence is? I figured it out after finally recording that video, chat. Lawrence is like Demon of Hatred, which is funny because they actually look alike too, where he feels like he is a boss from a different video game. Lawrence feels like a Dark Souls boss. He feels like you're meant to fight him slowly and deliberately and not take advantage of the fact that Bloodborne is meant to be this very aggressive game. But yeah, I don't know. He feels like a boss that does not belong in Bloodborne. It's just weird, you know? Again, I feel the same way about him as I do about Demon of Hatred, where it's like, yeah, he's hard, but he's not hard because of just plain difficulty. He's hard because he kind of defies the mechanics that you have come to rely on for your whole playthrough. And then in phase 2, the floor is lava. Exactly. That's another annoying thing. Like, you can't even dodge around him when he's on the floor crawling around like a baby because he's shitting lava all over the floor. He thinks he's Rykard. Yeah, it's not good, you know? I don't know if some people maybe really like this boss. I can't stand it. I will probably never fight this boss again, honestly. Even if I go back and replay Bloodborne, I will likely be skipping this one. Isn't the whole point of a Souls game to make you rethink everything, though? No. The problem with Lawrence, right, is you have spent the entire game up to this point honing your playstyle around very specific mechanics that Bloodborne tries to impress on you, right? The rally mechanic, the hop dodge, the ranged parries, like all of this combined to create a playstyle that works for every boss in the game except this one. And it doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, Lawrence Lawrence the First Vicar, trash, in my opinion. And that leaves us off with Orphan of Kos. Good old Orphan of Kos. I think Orphan of Kos is dead last in S tier. I think it is an S tier boss because it's better than Grandpa down here, but it's at the very bottom of S tier. Obviously, the lore is cool. The design is sick. The fact that he beats your ass with his fucking placenta is disgusting. And he's got some cool moves too. Like, I like that he can kind of use the like placenta juice to cast spells and stuff. I think that's like, it's kind of gross and fucked up, but it's also sort of interesting, you know? The one reason, or not the one reason, I guess it's the two reasons. The two reasons that Orphan of Kos is down here in S tier for me are, one, I think his moveset is very samey. I think that he is very vulnerable to being parried, especially in phase 1. And then in phase 2, you can trivialize his entire moveset by just walking to his right. Like, not even dodging, not even having to time anything. If you just walk your character to the right, he literally can't hit you. For a game like Bloodborne, where they tried very hard, kind of like what I said about Lawrence, actually. For a game where they tried so hard to beat the whole circle strafe and backstab playstyle out of players, it's kind of crazy to me that the final boss of the DLC is completely vulnerable to circle strafe and backstab. So yeah, that's Orphan of Kos for me. Very cool boss. I like most of his moveset, but, you know, bottom of S tier, I think. Again, in New Game Plus, like Ludwig, he makes you feel like you never leveled HP at all. Maybe I'll try New Game Plus one of these days just to see how bad it is. People have been saying that the scaling is like crazy compared to other FromSoft games. Hard to feel bad for the piece of shit after he kicks your ass half a dozen times. You just start mocking him for being an orphan. Brother, that's diabolical, my goodness. And there it is, chat. This is my ranking of every boss in Bloodborne, at the very least the base sort of game of Bloodborne. Again, we do have Chalice bosses that I have not fought because I have not run the Chalice dungeons. But for now, this is how I feel about all of the bosses in the game. I know some people say that, comparatively speaking, Bloodborne has a pretty mid-boss roster. I actually don't think so. I mean, I know I said a lot of the bosses in this game are kind of like eh, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. Like, for example, we just wrapped up all bosses run of Elden Ring, which is 207 bosses, right? And like, how many of those bosses are actually good? I would be willing to bet less than half, especially when you consider reskins and stuff like that. How many bosses in Elden Ring can we consider actually decent? And then compare that percentage to like this. Because this game's got some good bosses, like Lady Maria's god tier. I really like Martyr Ligarius. I think Gehrman's pretty cool. Like, Papa Gascoigne's a solid early game boss. We got some stuff. You know, this game's got a few things going for it. To be honest, Gascoigne is a better Margit. You know, I actually almost agree with that. Both bosses kind of serve the same purpose, which is to, again, teach you mechanics and make you sort of play the game the way that the devs want. But that being said, I think there's a difference between Father Gascoigne encouraging you to do things like parry and play aggressively versus Margit just being there to kick your ass bad enough so you go explore the map, you know what I mean? They serve the same purpose, but it's like a different sort of thing, I guess. So yeah, that's the boss tier list. If you agree with me, awesome. If you don't agree with me, let me know down in the comments. That would be sick. And yeah, I think that'll about do it for this one. We'll just pretend I didn't stop the stream recording before doing the outro, and now I have to do it again. Professional YouTuber right here, that's me. But as always, if you did enjoy this video, definitely make sure you leave a like, and let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with any of the rankings here. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter. That's about it. I'll see you guys in the next one.